The Lord wants me to do a school around our nation, and I'll just break it here on.
Yeah, please do.
And he said, Bobby, I want you to do a school around the whole nation and train my leaders on the subject of the centrality of the centricity of Jesus Christ. See, he said, if my leaders don't know me, those that are following the leader will be more confused. So I'm going to do a school for leadership and pastoral leadership, evangelists, on the centricity of Christ. Everything, every molecule, everything consists in him, by him, through him, for him. And we've got to get to know Jesus. I mean, not just the Easter story, not just, we've got to get to know Jesus.
By the way, can I just point this out, because I know you and I know the level of your gifting. When you say every molecule, you literally mean every molecule, right? You're not just throwing out words. You're not just
no. By him, everything was created.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? About everything coheres, comes together. Remember when he died on the cross? It says the rocks opened because the one that kept the rocks together had given up his life. I'm telling you guys, but it is very, very exciting right now. We're going to see a lot of people get saved, and the Lord kind of chewed me out a little bit. Here's what he said. He said, Bobby, how come you've allowed one of the greatest tools of evangelism to just kind of be pushed to the side? I said, Lord, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. And he said, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Multitudes believed on him when they saw the miracles he did. Signs and wonders and miracles are a great key to winning the lost. But see, a lot of the church says, we don't want any of that supernatural stuff. That's kind of weary. No, we've got to have supernatural signs and wonders. It says multitudes believed on him when they saw the miracles he did. I started our ministry. God said, I'm sick and tired of my people hearing about miracles and not seeing them. I said to him, what do you want me to do about it? I was a Baptist preacher. He said, I want you to lease up the secular room. I want you to put out an ad, come see a demonstration of God's power.
Wow.
And so finally, the Friday came for him to come see a demonstration of God's power. I had a church building, but he said, don't do them in the building, do it in a secular place. So we went to kind of a little conference center thing. And this is the Friday night. I'm behind the curtains. So I pulled the curtains out to see how the crowd's coming. Oh, Steve. The whole bunch was there, but here's how they were.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, no.
Because here's a Baptist preacher that said, come see a demonstration of God's power. Oh, I jerked the curtains too like that. And I said to God, what am I going to do? And he answered me. He said, you're going to look real silly if I don't show up. And don't you ever forget it. And we stepped out there and miracles happened. And Paul, see, that's where I got the theme for that part of the ministry. It said, I determined not to know anything among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. I was with you in weakness and fear and much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in a demonstration of God's power.
Can I ask you a question, Bobby? I've known a lot of people. I'm not thinking of any one person, but actually a lot of faces are before me, and they have seen a lot of miracles. They've seen prophetic come true. They've seen people get healed. And it's not like I see them do this, but in their heart, I can see them do this. And I'm going, if they see it, I guess I'm asking for a solution. What do we do when God's people who are saved see these things and they go, I'll believe it. Well, that could have been this, that could have been that. What do we do about that?
We've got to help them out. Their problem is a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. Yeah. And so we got to make sure that they believe the Bible. And then one of the things that I've found that's helpful is when a miracle takes place, look for that same type of miracle in the Bible, and you can show, and then you can show this is that, and that's what we got to. That's why we got to know the Bible better, so we'll have a template for what comes up. I was in a meeting just 2 days ago, and a little 5-year-old boy. I was walking through the crowd, and a little 5-year-old boy. Here's what I said to him while I'm walking through the crowd preaching. I had a microphone. I said, "The Bible says, except you become as a little child, you can't see or enter the kingdom." And I said, "I suspect we may have to digress to advance." And all of a sudden, a little bitty kid began to pray in tongues. I mean, the little bitty kid. His dad later brought him to me and said he's never done that. And the little kid started praying in tongues, and it was powerful. He never
Wow.
let her rip. And so I go over there to him. I said, what happened to you? And he was just like a little man. He said, well, Jesus came to me and said, I want to use your tongue. That's what he said. And he
Wow.
said these words just came out of my mouth. He said, I don't even know what they said, but and so anyway, then I said, well, what happened then? He said, when he quit using my tongue, I could see. And he said, I saw a lot of people that thought they were real, real big. But Jesus said, when he looked at them, he saw them real, real small. And so I'll tell you what, we better listen to the children.
So you
in.
mentioned that off the air, and interpret that, if you will. If they thought they were big and they're small, what does that mean? What does
It means
mean?
that their pride and look what I've done. Look what I can do. No, we can't do anything. John 15:5 says, without him, we can't do nothing. And but we've got to. The Lord told me one time, Steve. He said the highest form of treason in ministry is to take the gifts I've given you to win the people to Him, and use the gifts to win the people to yourself. He said that's the highest form of spiritual treason in ministry. But I think some people they understand. They don't understand to the degree we need to. We can't do nothing without Him. The first time I ever read that in John 15:5. I was a young preacher, and I'm reading, without me, you can do nothing. It made me mad. I go, how dogmatic? How can he say I can do nothing? And then I kind of chilled out, took a deep breath, and I thought, maybe I don't understand the Greek word nothing. So back then you had to get a book called Vines and Weast and all this, big old thick books. So I got my Greek books out and I started studying John 15:5, nothing. Without me, you can do nothing. Guess what it is in the Greek? Nothing is a big old vacuum, a big old zero with a vacuum sucked in it. It's less than nothing. It's nothing. Without Him, what we do applies to nothing. So with Him, through Him, He'll infuse us with inner strength, and we do all things through Christ who energizes me. So let's don't get to the point where we said, look what I did. We couldn't have got out of bed if it wasn't for the grace of God. Isn't that amazing? Every good and perfect gift comes. But to answer your question about it, I think we've got to get to know God and really realize He's who He says He is.
Yeah.
And we need to give Him glory for what He does.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why it says we need to offer the sacrifice of praise?
Yeah, when I see that, Bobby, I thought, well, you just need to praise and do it from the heart and do it when you feel like it. And then I reading it over and over, and it's called a sacrifice, which I suppose means praising Him when you don't particularly feel like it. What's your thought?
That's it. Okay. It's when you feel like it the least, you need to do it the most.
Wow.
Let the high praises of God be in our mouth. And I'll tell you one key for you saints, if you want to stir up the devil and get him agitated and fearful, when you get before your people, do Psalms 47:1. Shout to the Lord with the voice of triumph and smite your hands, and it'll incite fear and terror and dread in the camp of the enemy.